I'm
They,
sorry. I'm sorry.
so they pretty much tortured us. My daughter at one point even used her body as a shield to try to put her body over top of one of our dogs because they were chasing our other dog like through 3 levels of my house. They were coming in from every door on both floors, shooting at him from all directions. Like, my daughter could have gotten shot at any time because my daughter.
So your daughter, you said your daughter was trying to be a shield, and upon
Yes.
a shield for your dog, but they were
Yes.
shooting at the dog, and upon them shooting at the dog, they almost hit your daughter.
They could have hit my daughter because we had 2 dogs. They both ran upstairs because they were so scared, and they heard my daughter screaming. My daughter was 16 at the time. So they heard her screaming because, like, when I first heard the glass breaking, it was on the 2nd floor where my daughter was at. My daughter was homeschooled at the time. My son, he has a form of autism. He's on the 3rd floor. And, you know, I knew he was asleep, but I knew he would wake up and hear the noise and just come out. And, you know, my son, he's a big boy, but he's like a really good kid. Like, he's the most.
So you said your son is autistic. So you had an autistic
Yeah.
son in the house.
Yeah.
How
So
how old was your son?
My son at the time was 18.
So you had an 18-year-old son who's autistic. You had a 16-year-old daughter at the time, and you had 2 dogs in the house.
My son was 20 at the time. I'm sorry.
Your son was 20? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Your son was 20, and he's autistic. Your daughter was 16, and you had 2 dogs in the house, and then you and your husband.
Actually, I had 3 dogs because we had like a little 4-pound dog. We had it for 7 years. My daughter had stuffed her little dog in her shirt and then threw her body over top of the other dog because she saw, like, she couldn't get past the fence to get Cassius, the one that they were chasing through the house shooting at. Like, Cassius didn't even turn and bark at these people. He never barked the whole time, never growled, never turned around, and he just was trying to run to her because that's what they were trained to do. He heard her screaming.
So ultimately, what ended up happening as far as that situation with your daughter trying to protect the dogs and barking and stuff, or, you know, the dogs running?
Well, they basically, probably like 6, 7, or 8. I'm not sure. It was a lot of them. They closed her in the room. This is all men, mind you. They came in her room first.
When you say her, you talking about your daughter?
She had. Huh?
You talking about your daughter when you say her,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
She had no clothes on, pretty much like a t-shirt and some underwear. It was like 7 something in the morning, almost 8 o'clock. They drug her out of her bed, and after she, you know, I guess they closed her in the room.
Uh-huh.
This is what I'm really unclear about because she really won't talk about it, but this is from what I observed myself. So they closed her in the room, and it was like 6, 7, or 8 guys from the SWAT team that basically had infrared beams on her head telling her to shut the fuck up, calling her out of her name and all kind of stuff, and she was screaming. So by this time, I guess they had drug us outside. It was like so much going on because it was 3 levels of my home, you see, that they were dealing with.
Right.
So there's probably like almost 30 people in my case, but there was way more people than that in my home. But apparently some of the guys opted out, and they didn't want nothing to do with it when they realized that I had went as far as filing a lawsuit because I had to, because I had tried to file complaints. I had just, it's just like I was getting nowhere, and they just look at you like they know they're going to get away with it. So I had to file my lawsuit. I filed my lawsuit within 24 hours of the statute of limitations, pretty much. So what they did after, oh God.
So let me ask you this, not to cut you off, because you're up towards the point to where you filed a lawsuit, but with the situation that happened at your house, the fact that you filed a lawsuit, so as far as what went on at your house, so, you know, the situation with your daughter being pretty much naked, you was naked, and of course they shot at your dog, and I'm guessing they killed your dog if they shot at her, right?
They killed one of them, but they shot him so many times, like, there was so many people coming in my house shooting from different directions.
So they shot and killed your dog, detained you, your daughter, and your son, 20-year-old son who's autistic. And this is
my husband, my fiance. He was my fiance at the time. He was on the floor. He had his hands in the air. He was begging me. He was like, "Babe, please, please, just don't move. You see what they're gonna do. You see what they came for. They want to kill us. They want to kill us." So the whole time he's saying that, there's a guy that's got a gun in the back of his head, and he's like telling him, "Yeah, move, and I'll blow your fucking brains out." And I'm talking about, like, one of the guys downstairs, when my dog took off running when he heard my daughter screaming, one of the guys looked at me and smiled before he turned around and shot Cassius the first time, but he kept going. And
So the
as he
cop,
was going,
you saying the cop took and smiled at you before he killed your dog?
he said, "We're not going to hurt him." And then he smiled at me, and then he turned around and he shot at him. And it was two of them that shot at him at the, like, back to back. Like, it was people coming through the side.
And your
like,
daughter was in the vicinity of the gunshots, trying to protect the
they were all
dog.
lined up coming down the stairs to my room. And I was, one of the guys was radioing upstairs because I was talking so fast. I was trying to tell him, I'm like, wait. I'm like, my son's on the 3rd floor. He looks big. He looks dangerous or whatever. I was like, he has Asperger's syndrome. Like, please don't hurt my son. My daughter's on the 2nd floor. I heard her screaming. So I was just had so much stuff running through my head, and like my husband was screaming, like trying to basically calm me down and tell me like not to move and stuff. But they're screaming at me, telling me to take the sheet off because I had gotten up and I was hot that morning, and I had taken off my bra and stuff, and I wrapped up in the sheet. And they were screaming at me, telling me to take it off, and I was like, I don't have no clothes on. And they were hitting me with the guns and stuff in my back, like pushing me, and I was like, telling him at the same time, like, I was trying to tell him his name is not Wilbur. That's not his name. His name was changed 5 years ago. And I was like, if you let me go, get his wallet over here off of the table, then I could show you. So then they pushed me all the way over there, and then I gave him the
I guess
wallet.
what's confusing to me, I'm confused to why was it so important to torture you as far as his name when they already have him in custody?
Because they had to get a reaction out of me, because they wanted to basically get a reaction out of him.
So they basically used you as an instrument to make him scared.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like the same thing that happened in the Breonna Taylor case. Like, if my husband had reacted like they did, like they defended themselves, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If he had reacted, then my whole house would have been dead and nobody would have known nothing.
How many gunshots was fired in your house, you think?
Oh, man, I was like, all of the shots were going toward the dog, so I really don't know. And then there was 1 or 2 or 3. I'm not sure how many went upstairs toward my son, but, like, before they did all that, the guy radioed upstairs and was like, there's a 20-year-old male, he's on the 3rd floor, he has autism, and he's harmless, this and that and other. And basically, they still said, okay. I heard him say, okay. And then I heard the shot. Like, it was just so many shots. Like, all I kept hearing was, like, you know what I mean? Like, the noise. And I can't fathom this because I'm like, I know these people ain't in my house shooting. Like, what the hell? Like,
I'm guessing for a split second, you probably had the scare that you probably thought initially they shot your son if your son was up there.
Yeah, I did, because, like, my daughter was screaming the whole time, and then all I could think about is, oh my God, they probably killed my son, or you know, they probably up there I didn't know what they were doing to my daughter, because when we finally all got outside.
Oh, so the daughter, that's another thing. So the daughter was upstairs and the son was upstairs doing the gunshots up there.
Yeah, we were downstairs, and my dogs were downstairs in the farthest part of the house. So they lied. Of course, they lied about the whole report, saying that my dog was killed on this 2nd level. No, he was not. My dog was downstairs when y'all came in. Like, I had control of the dogs, but then my daughter started screaming, and my dog reacted, and he started, like, walking really slow and trying to creep past them. Like, he was scared. He had his tail tucked, his head down, and he was trying to get past them. They looked at him. They knew he was harmless. You know what I mean? And I kept telling them, like, he's harmless. My dogs don't even know how to bite, and they're people.
Right.
You know, and so they, like,
you said your dogs is pit bulls?
Like,
your dogs is pits?
Yeah.
So they get the same treatment as black people. So your dog was just
pretty much. You know, they got a bad reputation, but our dogs are, like, so sweet. Like, we went through a lot of training with them and stuff. You know, we paid a lot of money to do a lot of training to make sure that they would be good animals, and they were licensed support animals. You know what I mean? So, I mean, they were harmless, but it was just so much that went on. Like, there was even a time where I was, like, sitting on, I had asked one of the detectives to bring me in to, like, use the restroom, and they drugged me in the house, and they had already searched my bathroom and my room, and it was like I was sitting on this toilet with glass and stuff all over it from like where the shield to the lamp, the light had fell on the floor from where they busted everything up. I was sitting on this toilet like trying to clean blood and stuff all off of me, and it's like there's all these guys just standing there outside my bathroom, like they wouldn't even let me close the door. Like, you know, I just felt like so violated. Like, I was messed up for like a long time. Like, I'm really just now being able to even talk about it.
Shit,
You know
it
what I'm
sounds
saying?
like you still
like,
messed
so
up. Hearing the way your voice is cracking, it sounds like you still messed up. But,
yeah.
I mean, I know this.
I'm on a lot of antidepressants and all kind of shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, plus so much happened after that. It's like I went through a lot of deaths, and then they were threatening me. They threatened me so bad, so much, and harassed me so much. I ended up having to move out of my home into an area where I felt like I know if I go here and if I see something that doesn't look right in this area, I'll know. You know what I mean?
So you said something. You said something earlier.
With the neighbors, they're older people, and everybody have these little these ring cameras around here, so everybody kind of watches out for me. Plus, I had at a time like the Black Panthers down here, a group that was like working, you know, basically looking out for me and hanging around here and stuff. And it's like so much has transpired in this last 3.5 years, and then how they sugarcoated it and they downplayed it on the news to make it look like we were like I was harboring some kind of fugitive in my home. You know, like if you listen to the news article, they say, well, at the end of the search, nothing illegal was found. But nobody's ever said, okay, so why did her husband go to jail?
That's the thing that I'm trying to shed some light on, and that's what stood out about your case and kind of got me paying attention to your case and looking into it, because I seen a lot of similarities with not only my case, but the biggest similarities, I seen a lot of similarities involved with the Breonna Taylor case in your case, except for you was alive. You know, you're alive, your husband's alive, but at the same time...
That's why we don't matter, because we live. So we don't matter because we live, but people have no idea the extent that these people went to, because they were panicking because they couldn't find anything illegal in my home. We had 2 businesses. My husband had 2 businesses. He was doing damn good with his businesses. You know what I mean? He was making up to almost $1,000 a day just from cutting grass and towing cars. You know what I mean?
Right.